My name is Melanie. I'm one of the owners of Tamale Fusion, and we started this business as a way to kind of, I guess, feed the new food revolution, the new food paradigm that we're hoping to see grow, and funnel money into the proper channels to support people that are growing food in an ethical way, to vote with our dollars.
The products that you guys sell, types of food that you sell.
Yeah, so we serve blue corn organic tamales wrapped in banana leaves. The reason why we chose blue corn is because it's the only corn that you can count on being truly organic, because it's a shorter term growing season. So there's not potential for it to cross-contaminate with the yellow corn the way that other corns are able to cross-contaminate with GMO corns. And we chose banana leaves to wrap our tamales in. So we have to get those those come in from Asia. So there's a little bit of a carbon footprint with that. We were looking for some way to get a little more locally.
I always buy organic seeds when I can. A lot of my seeds I get from Horizon Herbs, which is a fantastic seed company in Oregon.
At King Solomon's Reef, we sell mostly comfort food, classic American, then some specialty vegetarian vegan food. We sell those things because they taste good.
So my name is Evan Mulvaney. I'm the owner and operator of Steamboat Junction. I also raise hogs on that farm and breed them. My hog feed is locally grown, just 20 miles away from me in Toledo, Washington. I know the grower myself, and he mixes it all on the farm. He's not buying any grain in from the Midwest, and there's no corn or soybeans in it. I buy my seeds from a few different seed companies. The main one would be Johnny's because of their consistency. And through Osborne, they're a Mount Vernon-based company. There's worked with Territorial in the past and Peaceful Valley. Kind of moving more towards a self-distributed direct-to-retail operation. So I work with some chefs, I've worked with some juice bars, garden centers, I grow nursery stock and seed garlic for garden centers.
So this is Traditions Cafe in World Folk Art, and I am the owner, sole owner, but I've had people here work, like Jody, who you might have met over here, has worked here for 20 years, and people over there have worked here for quite a few years. So it's really sort of a collaborative effort, even though it's my business. Starting from the local, we use local coffee roasters that are working with fair trade organizations. We do bakeries that are local. Our produce and our milk and things like that, all organic. So we work through a supplier in Seattle, or we end up buying it at the co-op, but the co-op is working through the same supplier in Seattle, so it's more like we've run out and we need to go to the co-op. Some of the things we source through our other restaurant, Tacoma Antique Sandwich Company, where we get things that they bake up there because we don't have ovens here. And then we order from like a distributor of whole grains and organics for our soups and stuff.
My name is Jacob Wilson. I'm co-owner of Calliope Farm. My business partner is Megan Marini, and we've been running this farm since, for 8 years or 9 years, somewhere in there. And we grow and sell organic produce, certified organic by the WSDA. And so everything we sell, we grow on our farm. We have a home farm really close to the Evergreen State College, so in the neighborhood, and that's where I went to college as well. And then we lease another field in South County that we drive to. We sell to the co-op, we sell to local restaurants like Nineveh and Old School Pizza, believe it or not, and Three Magnets buys a lot from us, and the Bread Peddler.
This is our outdoor classroom. This is our learning lab. I have been a part of this garden for, gosh, I think 4 years. The mover and shaker who's responsible for the biggest changes is our coordinator, Nicole Garden, who's also a parent at our school, and she started here as an evergreen intern. After connecting with a local farmer named Dave Goff, who's an incredible farmer, we decided it was time to repurpose our greenhouse, to move out of a framework of this place just being about being a learning lab and to move into a place of actual more food production, specifically getting food directly into the cafeteria and sharing with the food bank and other schools across the district. So we raised 2 large beds in our greenhouse 2 years ago, and next year we're planning on raising the other half of the greenhouse. So we have, each classroom has their own class crop and their own outdoor bed, and then we work with the children in the greenhouse also, as does, there are folks that come from the Thurston County Food Bank. We usually have some interns that take that on every year. The way that things run in this garden is through parent volunteers, but it's an ongoing, ever-changing system. We talk about freedom within structure a lot. When folks have energy for projects, we want them to take them on and facilitate those projects that they feel passionate about. I think it was about 12 years ago, but I could be wrong. Parents at Lincoln wanted an organic salad bar for their children in the cafeteria, and so they got that, and that spread through the district. And the sad truth is that you only have to have one item in the salad bar to be considered organic, to call it an organic salad bar, which is not okay. And sadly, our school's food system, as we are a public institution, we are given a lot of free commodity foods. So it's getting the whole system, looking at this system and looking at how we can make changes within the system that we are going to see. So we do grow food that goes directly into the cafeteria, into the salad bar. But the other piece of the puzzle is that our school kitchens are not really designed for food preparation anymore. They're designed to open up a package and throw it in a pan and heat it up. And we have a really specific protocol for harvesting foods from the garden, and then so we harvest things, we clean things, and then we send it to the main kitchen. Honestly, my children bring their lunch every day and don't eat here. Before we dug deeper with looking into what's going on with the salad bar this year, my son was really excited to eat at the salad bar, but when I found out that, no, the dressings and, I mean, no, so we don't eat that.
Generally, my feelings on GMOs is that I'm completely against GMOs. I'm really against any idea of patenting life forms and being able to own life forms. It seems like there's quite a few negative health effects from consuming genetically modified food.
Personally, I believe that the whole Monsanto GMO era has just been to take advantage of farmers, really. They convince the farmers that they can grow so much more with their seed, but then the farmers become reliant on their seed because their crops don't produce their own seeds.
as a blanket statement to say good or bad, it is pretty hard, since, you know, it's like I haven't done personally the research on all genetically modified food. And at what point do you say it was genetically modified? Is corn in itself bad because man manipulated a grain to get into corn? Yeah. You know, it's like, that's not natural. Man, that's man-made. In general, it's like I would prefer things to not be, but at the same token, it's all like, that might be, you know, the answer to something huge might be found in that.
A lot of people don't like that they were, you know, experimented on, and I don't think that's great. I really don't think people should. I am in favor of the idea of a mandatory label for genetically engineered products, but I understand why that is a pipe dream, because a mandatory process-based label is going to destroy an industry. So I do think that GMOs can offer really good disease resistance, and even virus resistance, which is something that no one can do anything about right now. There hasn't been a single study to show any negative ill health consequences to GMOs. So I don't know where that is, but I do know that I trust scientific papers, and they're peer-reviewed. And to get any GMO item through the EPA and FDA, you need to spend about $300 million. I think that the arm-to-arm backroom deals between private and public revolving back and forth is going to destroy this country.
I don't think there's anything out there that has reassured people that in terms of long-term effects, both on the environment as well as you know, in terms of health, that they can say that GMOs are absolutely safe. So therefore, going on the precautionary principle that things really need to be shown that they do not have deleterious effects before they are approved, they should not be approved. The second factor is really the impact on farmers. It's another way of making farmers very dependent upon the sources of seeds and having to buy rather than you know, saving seeds, transferring seeds among people. You know, there's that corporate emphasis to make sure that farmers are tied into their system. GMOs is part of that, it seems.
GMOs is an interesting topic because it's gonna lose, like, eventually, I'm pretty sure. I think it's a lot like cigarettes. It has a lot to do with some sort of like fundamental assumptions about like the world and about progress. And I'd say there are I mean, the main issue is that somebody stands to profit in a really big way. It's a new product, and it's a product that somebody can own and have sort of imminent control over. So I'm going to be suspicious of that, and we should all be suspicious of situations like that. Trademarking seeds in general, whether or not they're GMO. So you're going to be suspicious of that, going to be suspicious of the lobby power of these organizations and the way that these products are fast-tracked into use. So, I mean, definitely con.
I remember specifically when I first started hearing about GMOs, and I remember questioning, could this be a good thing? And I will never forget, there was a woman who was presenting lots of statistical information around negative health effects. This is when they were talking about the Agent Orange Ready GMO corn, which would be turned into high fructose corn syrup and all kinds of corn sugar, basically. I am a member of the Olympia Food Co-op. I'm a working member. Working at a cafe downtown also made me see the value in supporting other small businesses. I appreciate being able to shop in a community where other people are also doing research.
Anybody who has the resources to contribute to the greater good by buying higher quality, less polluting organic produce, basically, I guess I would say should feel an obligation to do so. It's You know, it's a form of pollution to buy conventional produce, conventional food, conventionally produced products.
It's great that things are organic, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the conditions for farm workers in terms of their pay, certainly they're not around pesticides and things like that, but their conditions in terms of pay and otherwise may not be very different as organics become more mainstream. They're grown on an industrial scale, and there are many other issues. Fair trade is all about worker justice. We work with some villages in Oaxaca, for instance, and we go directly each year and buy from them. But it's most effective for these fair trade co-ops and artisans if they can have access to a wider market, as long as it's done on fair trade principles and basis. Therefore, it takes somebody in the middle to do that, and to get it out there. I mean, there are a lot of movements, everything from worker-oriented, I mean, and ground-up movements like the Immokalee workers in Florida, working on improving conditions there. Any number of groups that are grassroots groups working directly with farm workers. There's obviously people working in terms of sourcing to emphasize local.
Local food, I think local food has some things to offer that food grown, many miles from where we live doesn't have.
We try to purchase or source our food from as many local places as we can.
There's the one aspect of local buying that's very important, is that all statistics show that the money you put into a local business is recirculated much more, multiplied and recirculated within the community, whereas money at the chains, the big corporate chains, a significant portion of that money just immediately is out of the community. That's one good aspect. However, it doesn't say anything about sourcing. You can still be sourcing from everything from China or everything from sweatshops, and it's just a local business buying through those sources. Organic is great, but that's just one part of the step.
Well, I try and change the world through action, so I started a business. And I'm trying to use that business to increase accessibility to high quality food. So that right now is organic food, and it's a lot better for you, it tastes a lot better, lasts a lot longer. And so to change the food system and food justice, I am making every day it more accessible to all of us by trying to get it into our local grocery store. I think diversified landscapes are a key to a much healthier ecosystem for both biological, birds, insects, and us. And so I'm a fan of diversified everything, because as a business owner it makes sense to not put all my eggs in one basket, and to increase the health of the ecosystem.
I don't think we're going to change the paradigm in terms of how economies work just by getting people with their spending habits to change, because it's really about eventually policy changes. For instance, if we didn't allow in our marketplace, because of trade laws, the importation of sweatshop goods, they wouldn't be out on the market cheaply available in every single mass marketplace, and therefore a constant temptation for people who are just overwhelmed by the advertising and the availability of stuff that's cheap. We have the option to enforce labor standards, which we've signed on to, international labor standards and so forth, and say it's not acceptable to allow those things to come in, from sweatshop conditions or whatever. So it's a combination of being aware as an individual that your dollar really is a vote for a system, and also being a public person and working to change policy. Because it's got to be both.
is kind. She'll bring to those who love the sweet fulfillment of their secret longing. And like a bolt out of the blue, fate stepped in to see you through. When you wish upon a star, your dream comes true. It makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come to you. And if your heart is in your dream, there's no wish that's too extreme. When you wish upon a star as dreamers do, fate is kind. She brings to those who love the sweet fulfillment of their secret longing. Like a bolt out of the blue, fate steps in to see you through. When you wish upon a star, your wish comes true.
Sing Lucina, when you wish upon a star. Thank you very much. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Wonderful day.